This is a simple and easy to build phantom farm for Minecraft Bedrock Edition. This phantom farm is a great way to get revenge on all the phantoms in your Minecraft world. It's also a good source of phantom membranes, producing about 1,000 per hour, and it even gives you quite a bit of experience. This phantom farm is way smaller, simpler, and cheaper than other phantom farms you may have seen on Bedrock Edition, and it's also a one-dimension farm, meaning that you can AFK for as long as you want and get thousands of phantom membranes. I also found a way to make phantoms worse. We're letting them spawn during the day with this farm. You're welcome. You're probably wondering why you should even bother building a phantom farm, and let's all be honest, we've all had this thought before. We know exactly why you should build a phantom farm. It's obviously for revenge. The phantoms deserve it. They deserve to be farmed. They've caused us immense pain. You're going to be getting a lot of phantom membranes, and these don't have a ton of uses, but they do give you one of the best potions in the game, and that is slow falling. This is an absolute lifesaver in the end dimension, even if you do have an elytra, because it will save you from falling in the void more times than you can count. You can also use the phantom membrane to repair your elytra and an anvil. However, it requires multiple membranes to repair your elytra, which is even more of a reason why you should have 1,000 of them. But let's be honest, you're farming them for revenge, and we all know it, so let's just move on. And let's check out how you use this farm. So it's really simple. You just need to have insomnia or not asleep for 1 hour, and then you can go up to the middle of the farm here, turn on those Trident Killers, and then the phantoms will spawn above you, swoop down at you, and then they'll just go into the Trident Killers. If you have insomnia, you'll usually get the phantoms to spawn within just a couple of seconds, and now as you can see, they're going to dive bomb you, but they'll never be able to attack you or damage you while you're in your nice little jar right here. And as you can see, they're dying on our Trident Killers. All the experience will go down to you. Other phantom farms that you may have seen will use nether portals to send them to the nether, which means that you can't AFK for that long, otherwise you're gonna crash your game with that many phantoms. Because we're using 4 Trident Killers right here, this is actually comparable to the rates of a nether portal, or in some cases even faster than using portals, which is great. This is the most bare bones version of the farm right here. That's basically just the kill chamber. If you think this is too simple, then you're right. We need a couple more things to get the maximum rates from our farm. So hostile mobs actually share a mob cap with phantoms. So in order to get the most phantoms in our farm, we actually need to light up this area. We have to use a glow lichen instead of torches to light up the platform, because phantoms will spawn in light level 7 or below, which is exactly what we get from the glow lichen, but hostile mobs only spawn in light level of 0. So this entire platform right here is only spawnable by phantoms. And you heard that right, this platform will spawn phantoms. And this is why you need to light up the ground around your farm, because otherwise all of the mobs are just right there, which fills up the entire mob cap. You'd be forgiven for thinking that phantoms just spawn in the air above the player, but what's actually happening is they're spawning on the ground around you, and then they just appear to be up in the air above you. And that's why if you're out over the ocean, you're never gonna get phantoms, because there's no blocks around you for them to spawn on. And that's also why you never get phantoms if you're in a fully lit up area. There's just nowhere dark enough on the ground for them to actually spawn. There's a couple weird things about this mechanic. So first of all, the ground has to be more than 24 blocks away from you in order for them to spawn, and that's why older phantom farms look like this, just a giant donut. The phantoms actually spawn on the ring around you, and they cannot spawn closer than this inner ring, so that's why we have the giant hole right there. While I'm here, previous phantom farms also used magma blocks, because phantoms can technically spawn on this, but no other hostile mobs can. You might think that phantoms can only spawn during the night, but there's a super easy way to get them to spawn during the day as well. So you need the correct darkness at the ground layer, but you also need the correct darkness in the air as well, and that generally only happens at night, unless you block out the sun. Blocking out the sun is really easy, but it requires a few blocks, so we're going to be using leaves here, but this is a completely optional roof, and this roof is the exact size required for the platform down below, and this platform is the maximum size that it can be. So if you're AFKing right there in the center, you're going to get phantoms to spawn around you 24/7 at daytime and nighttime, and that'll give you about 1,000 phantom membranes per hour. I know it looks huge, but keep in mind, it's just a couple of blocks actually. So this is the maximum size that your phantom farm would ever be, but the roof and this little stem is optional, and of course you don't actually need to build this platform, because you can just build it on the ground and then light it up with some glow lichen. Now there's one other mechanic required for phantom spawning, and and that is the player. You need to have insomnia and not sleep for 3 Minecraft nights, or basically an hour of IRL time. And you also need to have nothing above you that blocks light. So we can't actually have leaves above us. So if we're standing inside of the AFK spot down here, we actually have direct sky access above us. Now that of course means that daylight can seep down through the hole, and that's why we have these solid blocks here to block out that light. Low-key, another reason to build this farm is because it actually looks really cool with the glow lichen pattern on the floor down there. And if you build it over the ocean, then you also get that circle, I guess. But, I mean, look how cool this looks. It's a pretty good flex to have this in your world, not gonna lie. Anyway, let's hop into how you build this thing. If you'd like this kind of tutorial, then subscribe. I got a lot more tutorials on the way, but let's take a look at the materials list. So everything that is actually required for this build is in this chest right here. It's all pretty simple. You will need at least 4 tridents, ideally with impaling 5. That way you get the best rates. And you'll also want a looting 3 sword for your Trident Killer rates. And then if you want to build the optional floor of the farm, then you need an entire double chest of blocks or slabs, and then a few more stacks as well. These can be full blocks or they can be slabs. The platform can be built out of either. And then if you want to build the optional roof on the farm, that way you can use it during the day, then you'll need all of these solid blocks, an entire double chest of leaves, and then even more leaves. I would recommend 2x2 spruce trees if you're planning on getting all these leaves. You can find this entire materials list down in the description of the video, but let's hop into it. The first thing we need to do for a phantom farm is pick a good area. You want to find somewhere that is flat without many trees or hills in the area, and ideally without any water or caves. I'm just going to pick an arbitrary spot here in the middle, and bam, this is going to be the middle of our farm going forwards. If you have any water in the area, you're going to want to fill this over because water is not spawnable for phantoms. If you have caves, you want to fill those over as well, and you also need to light them up to prevent mobs. And you also want to tear down any trees that are in the area. Generally, you just want to make this a nice flat zone without any obstructions. If you're planning on building your own giant floor over the ocean, for example, then we'll get to that in just a minute, but for now, just place down a block somewhere with a scaffolding on it. We're going to build the kill chamber first, and then we'll cover all the optional floor and ceiling of the build. So we need to go up by 24 blocks from our central scaffolding, so grab yourself a 23 scaffolding right here, and we're just going to place all of those down, and this is the exact height of the tower that you need. We're going to be AFKing at the very top of this thing. Now we're going to put in ourselves a double chest right here for some temporary storage, and then just a ring of hoppers going all the way around our scaffolding in the middle, like so. And now we're going to go out by 4 slabs in every direction to make ourselves the little water catchment platform. Once you've bridged out by 4 blocks, then we need to go ahead and connect up all these corners in a big square, and then just fill in this entire thing with some slabs. And that's what it should look like. So we're going to go to every corner, place in ourselves a solid block here. You don't actually need that slab. And then we're just going to go ahead and put in a layer of solid blocks going all the way around this thing to contain the water. And that's what it should look like once you have it done. So now we're going to go ahead and go to every corner, place in ourselves 2 slabs right here, and then a water source, and do that on all 4 sides. Now, once we have this in place, we're going to go ahead and place in ourselves a piece of glow lichen on every side, right in the middle. This will prevent mobs from spawning on your edges up here. We're also going to place in a glow lichen on our scaffolding right there. Now, just surround your AFK spot right here with a 2 tall layer of glass panes going all the way around it. And now we're going to grab some glass blocks and put them directly above the center right there. And this needs to be a 4 block tall pillar of glass. From the top here, we're going to go 3 blocks out in every direction, and now we need to build in ourselves a 7x7 square of glass blocks. So just go ahead and build this out, and then fill it in. And that is our 7x7 square of glass blocks in place. Now we're going to go down and put a ring of solid blocks going all the way around it, and this is going to contain our water. Now we need to pick a side to have our on-off switch on, so I'm going to say it should be on this side, and it's actually going to be off to the side by a block, so this is where your on-off switch is. You can still reach it from inside the AFK spot, by the way. Now we're going to put ourselves a piece of redstone dust above it, a block right here, and then a redstone torch, and blocks above both of those like so, and then a repeater right here, and that should start clocking. For the time being, we're just going to turn that off. And now you need to go to every corner of your glass square and replace the corner block with a solid block. So it should look like that. And now we're going to place in a piston facing that solid block on the inside edges right here. So just in a solid block and then a piston facing it like so. And of course you need 2 pistons on the right side as well. So now what we're going to do is we're going to place a solid block to either side of the front of the piston. This is going to contain your trident and help it not get pushed out. And then we also need another solid block next to the back of the piston right there on the inside edge. So that's the left side done. and then we do the right side, extra block right there, and 2 blocks on this one, and an extra block right there. And that is what it should look like. Now that all this is done, we just need 2 redstone lines. So we're just going to place in a redstone line going all the way across the farm right here, and then all the way across the farm right here to power our 4 pistons. If you flick this lever, that should activate all of your pistons, and you're good to go. Now come down to this area, and we're going to place 3 signs on every side of this middle glass block, and then we're just going to place in an entire platform of signs down here to hold up our water. So once it looks like this, you need to place signs on the sides of those signs, and then 2 more signs coming off of it, like so, and then do the same thing on the other 3 corners as well. So it should just be one giant platform of signs down here. It's kind of hard to show, but yeah, now we have a giant platform of signs to hold up all of our water. Now, you also need to go into the corners and place in a button on each one of these corners, and that is going to stop your water from flowing into them. This will help your experience and items fall down, and then you don't actually need the sign that's directly underneath that button, so you can just remove those. Now we can install the water, so place in a water source on every side of your central glass block right there, and then that'll flood in this entire platform. You shouldn't have any water flowing down or into the corners or anything like that, and that's what it should look like. Now your kill chamber is done. At some point during the build, you'll want to install your tridents. You can use any trident that you want, but ideally it should have impaling 5. That way it kills them quickest and you get the best rates. Now you need to throw these tridents into the corner closest to the central pillar of the build. As of right now, your farm is actually functional. If you wait until nighttime and you have insomnia and then you go in there, you will get phantoms and they will die bomb and the farm will function, but you'll get about 20 phantom membranes per hour. So now we need to do the floor. The floor is the most important part. That gets you the best phantom rates at nighttime. The ceiling is just so you get phantoms during the day. First thing to do for the floor is to flatten out the area around the farm and condition it. That way it's nice and clean. We need a large area around the farm. So starting from our middle block, we're going to be counting out in every direction by 37 blocks. So starting right here is 1, and then 2, 3, 4, going all the way out to 37. So that's 37 blocks right there, and you need to do this on all 4 sides. So in total, this area should be 75 by 75. That is going to be the maximum spawning platform size that we can get for the farm. And if you're building your big platform out over the ocean, well, you still need to go out by 37 blocks. I have those marked in diamond blocks here just so you can easily count them. And then the circle is actually relatively easy. So I'm going to show you 1/4 of it, and it's the exact same on every single side. So if you've never built a circle before, you just count out on the outer edges, and then you can just kind of build it as shown. And then of course you need to fill out this entire platform as well. So yeah, just build up with this little quarter circle on all sides of your build, and that'll give you the full circle. You don't have to worry about making it perfect. It doesn't really matter all too much if you're off by a block or not. And honestly, if you're super lazy and you don't like circles, you could just make it a big square. All the blocks here on the corners will be non-spawnable, but it's up to you whether you value time or resources in Minecraft. And now we need to line up the floor around our farm. The lighting is the same whether you're building on the ground or you've built up your own personal platform here. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to our center block and surround it with 1 piece of glow lichen on every side. You do need to use glow lichen for the build, but it's really easy to farm, so it's not a big deal. Now you need to count out by 12 blocks when placing this. So starting on this is block number 1, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Place in a block there, and then on every 12th block going out. If you've counted it correctly, you should end up with a glow lichen 1 block from the edge of your farm. So this is block number 36 right here if you're counting out from the center. So do that on all 4 sides of your farm. So now you should have all 4 directions filled in with some glow lichen, and this is where it actually gets really easy. So what you can do is you can just line yourself up with 2 pieces of glow lichen. So we're lined up with that one right there and with that one right there. So we know another one needs to go right here. And now if we just go to the side, we know that we need one right here. And then we can't get to the edge, of course, because we'd be off. So we're just going to place in one right here on that edge. So go ahead and double check that these are all lined up with one another. And then you can kind of just fill in the entire grid going across. So now we can go out from this one and line ourselves up with the next one. and then place it out on the edge right here. And I think you kind of get the idea. Basically just build in the entire grid going across the farm. So you should have 6 glow lichen per quadrant. There's 3 of them right there, and then there's another 3 in this little corner right here. So go ahead and do that for the other 3 quadrants. And that's what it should look like once you have all of the glow lichens in place. However, we're only about halfway done right now because there's going to be dark patches between all of these. So if you do this at nighttime, it's actually going to be a lot easier because now you can see where all the dark patches are. So as you can see, we need to place 1 glow lichen right in the center of this dark patch, and you're actually going to be lined up with 2 glow lichens on the diagonals. So if you look diagonal of you, you should hit a glow lichen. Yeah, as you can see, it should be really easy to tell where you need a glow lichen. You can just kind of line yourself up, place 1 right there, and just go all the way across the farm. If you're not sure exactly where to place it, then you can just go diagonal from that block, and you should hit a glow lichen there, and then you should hit a glow lichen on that side, and then you'll probably hit 1 on that side as well. So it should be just lined up in a nice little diagonal. And that's what it should look like once you have it done. Now, this platform is going to be completely spawn-proof for all hostile mobs except for the phantoms. If you see any other hostile mobs down here, then you might have missed a block or you might have miscounted something. But honestly, like, you could just put down another glow lichen. You don't need to redo the whole thing. You can have glow lichens wherever you want. You could spam this entire platform if you wanted to, but it's just not going to look that great. So once you have the lighting installed, whether you're building on the ground or in your own platform, if you're using this farm at night, you're going to be getting a lot of phantoms. So as you can see, we're getting a ton of phantoms to spawn, and that is because only phantoms can spawn in this area. We are good to go for this phantom farm, but we can only use it at nighttime right now. To build up the roof of the farm, we're going to start on top of our AFK spot right here, directly above the middle. Now grab yourself a stack of 47 blocks, and we need to just go up vertically by 47. So this is the very top of the pillar, but you also need to do this on the other 3 sides of your AFK spot. So it should just be a giant column going up with a hollow spot in the middle. So once you've pillared up on all 4 sides, if you look down the middle here, that should be your AFK spot with the scaffolding. And now our leaf layer is going to be going on top of this. So we need to go out by 37 blocks. So this is block 1, 2, 3, 4. All the way out to 37. And of course, you need to do that on all 4 sides. And by now, you probably see where this is going. If you actually built up the lower platform out of real blocks, then we need to make that same exact shape up here, but out of leaves. Every single block of your lower spawning platform should have a leaf block directly above it. Phantoms are a surface spawn, so we need the leaves to not only block out the light, but also to allow them to actually spawn down there. And again, it's the same circle shape as the lower platform, so you can build this entire thing out of leaves. I would recommend using a different type of leaves for the outer edges. I'm using cherry on mine, just so we can more easily count them and tell the difference between them. And this is what the entire leaf roof should look like. It should be identical in size and shape to the lower spawning platform that you have installed down there. Now you need to go to the middle where you have in your solid blocks and pop out the 1 leaf that is right here. That way we have direct sky access all the way down to the player. If there's a leaf right here or any other blocks, you're not going to get phantoms to spawn. Now we need to extend the roof on the edges, so line yourself up with center and go to the edge. And now we need to go out by 7 blocks. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, and do that on all 4 sides. Once you've done that on all 4 sides, this is the shape of the outer circle that you need to make, and it doesn't need to be exact once again. As long as you go out by at least 7 blocks, that'll block the daylight from affecting the edges of your lower spawning platform. And once you fill all that in with solid blocks, this is what your roof should look like. Pretty massive. And if you're playing on Sim 6 or above, then you might need to actually light up this roof. That way no mobs spawn up here. And if you don't feel like putting some torches up here, then you'll need to actually slab the entire thing instead. One last thing to do is to come down to the top of your AFK spot right here and just put a couple glow lichen, 1 on either side. That way everything up here is spawn proof. If you enjoyed this video, then subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.